Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to go over my most anticipated books for Q2 of 2025. Now I will say I'm not talking about all of the books that are releasing. These are the ones that are most on my radar. So if you're looking for like fantasy books that are coming out, science fiction books that are coming out, horror books that are coming out, this is not the place to find those. These are mainly romance, thrillers. There's a few general fiction. I think there's one horror and one science fiction, but for the most part, my list is heavily thrillers and romance. So that's what you'll find here. But I'm going to be talking about all of the books on my radar for April, May, and June of 2025. And I think I have 25 books to talk about. And there's kind of levels. There's levels of excitement and anticipation for these books. But my most anticipated book of the entire year is on this list. Some of these are debuts. Some of them are from authors I've read and loved. Some of them are sophomore novels. I'm giving them a second chance, to see what I think and if they'll become a new favorite author. So let's go ahead and get started. I have lots of notes because obviously I don't have any of these books. I haven't read any of these books. So I do want to give you like a little something to go by, but the best place to find out more information about these books is Goodreads, the Storygraph, Fable, wherever you kind of keep track of your books and find out about books. Google is your friend. Okay, so let's get started. On April 1st, Crash Landing on You by Annie McQuaid releases, and it is a debut. So obviously I've never read anything from the author before. This is a romance book. I think the cover is so cute and fun. But this is about two exes who are forced to reunite when their plane crashes on this like deserted island. So it's going to be romance, second chance, survival. I mean, sign me up. Next up, also on April 1st, is The Last Session by Julia Bartz. This is her sophomore novel, and I read the writing retreat. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't really like the story, but I think I liked the writing, but I'm going to give her a second chance, obviously. This one is a locked room thriller about a social worker that comes face to face with her dark past, and she must infiltrate a wellness center. I also have kind of like another wellness center-ish type book. So that's interesting, but I haven't heard the best things, but people loved the writing retreat and I didn't love that one. So I'm wondering if I'll really like this one, like if I'll have the opposite taste of most people. Another book releasing on April 1st, I have quite a few of them, a romance book, Any Trope But You, which is also a debut novel. This one is by Victoria Levine, and it's set in Alaska. And ever since the Moose Spring Alaska series, ever since that Kirsten Hanna book, The Great Alone, I fall in love with Alaska every time I read about it. But this is about a best-selling romance novel who jets off to Alaska to write her very first murder mystery novel. But she meets the resort's proprietor of the place that she's staying, and he makes her feel like she's living in a rom-com. Does that not sound so cute? I don't know, like it kind of does look like a snowy cover. So I don't know if I'm like itching to read this one right away, but it's definitely on my radar. Alaska sounds cute. So yeah, I definitely want to read it at some point, but I don't know if like this part of the year is the best time to read a story like this for me, but we'll see. Okay, and our last book releasing on April 1st is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Obviously, I'm very excited about this book. She's one of my favorite authors. She's very popular. I love her books. And all I know about this one is that it's playful yet deeply emotional. I did not read the full synopsis of this. I probably never will with her books. I like just diving in because they're funny. They're playful, they're emotional, they have those deeper themes and topics that I like. And I just really, for books that are like by my favorite authors, I really just don't want to know much. I just want to go in, trust the process, and hopefully love it. So I don't really have much information. And if you comment down below anything about any of these books, please keep it spoiler free. And I mean, like, don't talk about the books because I just really like to know little to nothing about these really popular authors that I love, that everybody's anticipating their book, you know? All right, now we're moving on to April 8th. I have one book on that release date, The Maid's Secret by Nita Prose. This is the third book in the Maid series. And I also read the novella. So the Mistletoe Mystery, that was like a little Christmas time novella. You don't have to read it. It's a totally separate story, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. But in this one, a heist, a daring art heist takes place at the Grand Regency. And also, Molly's life is threatened. And then, of course, long buried secrets are revealed, with The Maid's Secrets being the title, or The Maid's Secret being the title. Like, you would think there's some secrets from Molly's past that we're going to get to know more about. And if you've read the first book, maybe it's about that, what we learn in that book. Maybe it's about something different. We're going to have to read it to find out. I'm very excited to add this to my collection and obviously read it. All right, moving on to April 22nd. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I think everybody is excited about this one. Honestly, the premise of this doesn't hook me. It doesn't, like, if you wouldn't have told me this is an Emily Henry book, I probably would have maybe passed on this book. But I trust Emily Henry. I haven't ever disliked any of her books. But I'm wondering if this is going to fall more in line with like book lovers and funny story than some of the other ones that I have really, really enjoyed. And this is also kind of giving Evelyn Hugo-esque, but this one is about two writers competing for the chance to write Margaret's biography. And Margaret she hasn't been seen in years. She's a former tabloid princess, a daughter of one of the most scandalous families of the 20th century. So I'm sure we're trying to figure out, well, we're trying to hear about her life, obviously. But I think it's more about the writers, the two competing writers, and their love story, but also why these two people, you know, all of that wrapped into one. So I definitely will be reading it because I really love Emily Henry, but it's not one that I'm like so excited about, like Happy Place or People We Meet on Vacation. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, next up on April 29th, this is the horror book I have on my list. It's The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. I've never read anything by this author before. I have been intrigued by their backlist, but I haven't gone there yet. I'm excited about this one. I actually chose it for the Night Owl Book Club, so I definitely will be reading this one and discussing it with the Night Owls. But this one is about a group of friends who investigate this mysterious staircase in the woods. So while they're in high school, there's 5 friends. They go on this camping trip, and one of them walks up this mysterious staircase, and then they disappear. The staircase disappears, and nobody knows what happened or what's going on. And then 20 years later, the staircase is back. It sounds a little science fiction-y, fantastical, and horror all rolled into one. So I'm going to see what it's all about, but yeah, I'm interested. Obviously, I wouldn't have picked it for my book club if I wasn't. Okay, so those are all of the April releases. Let's move on to May. May 6th, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune releases. This is the second book in the Barry's Bay series. I don't know how many, if it's only going to be a duology or if it's going to be a trilogy or what, I'm not really sure. But this is the second book. It follows Every Summer After, but I don't think you necessarily have to read that book to read this one. Anyway, it just has some characters that are, you know, in the first book. In this one, Alice returns to Barry's Bay, where she spent like one summer with her grandmother. She ended up taking this picture of this yellow speedboat, and now the yellow speedboat is back. And I think it's a romance with the man on the speedboat. That's all I really know. Like I said, I'm reading this for the Night Owl Book Club as well. And yeah, I think it's going to be their romance. So I'm really excited. Love the book cover. I really enjoyed Carly Fortune in the past. So looking forward to this one, of course. Moving on to May 6th, Parents Weekend by Alex Finlay. And I have read 2 other books by this author, Every Last Fear and The Night Shift. And funny enough, Agent Sarah Keller returns from those 2 books into Parents Weekend. This one has multiple POVs. It has a past and present timeline. And the story follows 5 families gathering to celebrate their children's first year of college, but none of the kids show up for the celebration. And at first they think, oh, just college kids. They got distracted. They forgot, whatever. But then they like still don't show up and still don't show up. So then they get worried. Agent Sarah Keller gets involved. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. May 6th, My Friends by Frederick Bachman releases. I've read Anxious People, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer before by this author. I also plan to read Beartown in December with the Night Owl Book Club, but in My Friends, it's about 4 teenagers' friendship who creates a bond so powerful that it changes a stranger's life 25 years later. Something about a painting, I'm not really sure. But I love this book cover so much. And yeah, I'm excited to read more novels by this author. Okay, on May 6th, also, The Tenant by Freida McFadden comes out. Love her, hate her, I love her. I've definitely rated some books higher than others, but this one sounds really good. It's a gripping story of revenge, privilege, and secrets turned sour. I'm a little confused by the synopsis because there's this guy that loses his job and he needs a place to stay, but like he's engaged, but this other woman offers up a room for him to stay. I thought him and his fiance were living together, but then this other woman offers him a room. Is it just him? Is it him and his wife or his fiance? Like, I'm so confused, but it's Freida McFadden. It's the new release. It sounds like it's going to be juicy, so I'm going to read it. May 13th, 1 and 4 by Lucinda Berry releases, and I've read all except for one of Lucinda Berry's books and all of her backlist and everything. This one is about when a reality show about a former child star overcoming addiction culminates in murder. And then their therapist must take a closer look into their lives and her own. So sounds very, very interesting. Love the cover of this one too. Very fun. Also on May 13th, main characters, not Maine as in like the main characters, but Maine as in the state. Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein. And I have read one other book by this author. It was Head Over Heels. And I was so excited about that book, but I didn't really like it. I gave it 2 stars, but I'm willing to give the author a second chance, of course. They've written other books, but I just haven't been intrigued by them. But this one, the cover drew me in. Also Maine, very excited about that. It's kind of like my love of Alaska. I also love Maine. So this one is a love letter to lake life. It's Parent Trap for adults. It's about 2 half-sisters who meet for the first time at their father's cabin in Maine after his unexpected death. All right, another one on May 13th, The Dark Maestro by Brendan Slocum. I have 2 of his books on my TBR that I have not gotten to yet, Violent Conspiracy and Symphony of Secrets. I'm hoping to read them soon, maybe in May. Should I wait until this 3rd one comes out and just do a vlog? Probably. But I have lots of musical books to read. I really do need to buckle down and read them. But this one, The Dark Maestro, is about a young Black musical virtuoso at the peak of his career who's forced into hiding when his family runs afoul of a ruthless international cartel. And he uses his music to fight back. It sounds amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Also, let me know what you think about this cover. I don't know. It doesn't match his other book covers, but like, who am I to judge, you know? All right, moving on to May 20th, we have The Last Fairy Out by Andrea Bartz, which is Julia Bartz's sister. I have read The Other Side of the Road, which is a short story by Andrea Bartz, and I have also read The Spare Room by Andrea Bartz. On this one, it's about a woman taking a trip to the tropical paradise where her fiance died, and she begins to suspect the death was no accident when she gets there. So a little bit confusing, but it sounds good, and I enjoyed The Spare Room. So I have had luck with this author. So I'm hoping I like this one too. Another one on May 20th, The Love Haters by Catherine Center. I have had so much luck with Catherine Center. I have definitely enjoyed more of her books than I have disliked her books. And I've never disliked one of her books. I've just maybe like 3-starred them, like generally enjoyed them. But this one, it says Katie is on the verge of getting laid off when she is requested to profile Tom Hutchinson, a Coast Guard rescue swimmer. The catch is she can't swim. So it kind of feels like another, like, they're working together, like, job. It almost reminds me of the rom-commers in a way, where she's a writer, he was a writer, they're working together to write this manuscript. She's a producer or something like that, and he's this rescue swimmer, and they're gonna have to team up to like work together about their jobs. I think he's gonna teach her how to swim. I think it's gonna be the cutest thing ever. Okay, moving on to May 27th, It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan is on the list. I read Same Time Next Summer, but literally every other book on her backlist is on my TBR. I mean, not physical TBR, but on my want to read list. This one is about a former adolescent TV punchline who has left her awkwardness behind on the cusp of success until she tells a lie that sets her on a crash course with her past. She bumps into this guy from her past. It's their love story. It's going to be adorable. And I also really like her book covers. All right, now we are moving on to June, and I am about to tell you about my most anticipated book of 2025. I am so happy, you guys. You have no idea. No idea. On June 3rd, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid releases. She is hands down my favorite author. I have loved everything she has written, and I am so pumped for this. I've been waiting years, literal years, for her to write something new. And it's also a little historical fiction. It's set, like the backdrop is the 1980s and around like the space shuttle program and stuff like that. And all I know is that it says the links we go to live and love beyond our limits, that it's fast-paced, thrilling, and emotional. And that's literally all I know about the book, and that's all I want to know about the book. I'm reading this for my podcast, and I am so stinking excited to be joined by Wendy and Hannah for the discussion. And I'm just a new, fresh Taylor Jenkins Reid to read. And I'm so excited. I hope I love it. And if I don't, my soul will literally be crushed. You know what I'm saying? But like, has she ever steered me wrong before? No, she hasn't. So I'm excited. But Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, my most anticipated book of the year. And my bestie Jessie has already pre-ordered it for me. So I'm so excited. All right, moving on to June 10th, another kind of musical book, Never Been Shipped by Alicia Thompson. So for this one, I've read a short story by her and a novel. So the short story was A Classic Case. It was like a mystery little short story. And then the book that I read was, I believe, her debut, Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I do have something about a cold world. I put it on a TBR before, but I haven't ever read it, but I do still have it on my TBR. This one is about a band reunion, maybe enough to change two musicians' tunes on love. So you have this band coming back together and on a themed cruise ship. It's a second chance romance because the girl dated someone else in the band before, but this guy, John, always had a thing for her, and now it's their second chance, you know? So it sounds really cute. The cover's fun. Yeah. That's never been shipped. All right, moving on to King of Ashes, also releasing on June 10th by S.A. Cosby. I've read Razor Blade Tears, All the Sinners Bleed, Blacktop Wasteland, and all I know about this one is that it is a Godfather-inspired Southern crime, epic and dazzling family drama. And I hope it has a funny character because that's one of my favorite things that S.A. Cosby writes. All right, another one on June 10th, The Bachelorette Party by Camilla Sten. I've read The Lost Village by this author. This one says, Scream meets the guest list. It's a thriller of friendship and murder. This one takes place in Sweden, and I think it's about like 4 friends that go on a trip in Sweden. I know the author is from Sweden, and I believe it's translated. I'm not 100% sure though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading something else by this author because it's been a while. I think back in 2019, I read The Lost Village. So it's been quite a while. Okay, next up. Oh, I'm so excited about this. June 17th, The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich. So Nikki Ehrlich, I felt like I discovered her. I feel like for my group of friends, my circle of friends, I discovered her because I vaguely heard about this book somewhere on the internet. And I was like, this sounds amazing. Let me choose it for my Night Owl Book Club. It was our very first Night Owl Book Club pick when we were just doing 1 book a year in the summer. It was like a whole buddy read situation. So it is her sophomore novel, After the Measure. But man, everybody loved The Measure. And then everybody started talking about it. And then it just kind of spread like wildfire. But this one sounds amazing too. It's speculative, but it also has like sci-fi elements and stuff like that in it as well. And this is another kind of wellness center book. It says, a speculative story of healing, self-discovery, forgiveness, and found friendship. And this one is an experimental and controversial treatment center, think the Poppy Fields, that allows patients suffering from heartache to sleep through their pain and keep on sleeping. And then when they wake up, their pain is gone. Does that not sound super interesting? Not only that, but the cover art and the end papers, like there's exclusive editions of this. Like I think there's one on Amazon. There's one at Barnes. I saw it on bookshop.org and I want it so bad. It's so pretty. And like, I love this for her. I love that she's getting this opportunity. All right, one more on June 17th, Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I've read The Dead Romantics, The 7-Year Slip, A Novel Love Story, With Any Luck, which is a short story. This one is a hit-making songwriter and a bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that they will do anything to shake. Obviously, it has a magical realism element to it. I'm not sure if I'm sold on the cover, if we're being honest, but this is another musical type book, so we'll see what I think. 2 more books, you guys. 2 more books. On June 24th, Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. And all I know about this one is 3 women connected by 1 man. The synopsis is the only, like, I would have to literally read you the synopsis to make sense of it because I read it and I was like, I don't know how to summarize that. So you're just going to have to check that one out on Goodreads yourself. That's Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. Another author, I've read many of her books. I'm excited about her newest. I'm definitely going to pick it up. I'm definitely going to read it at some point. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to receive an ARC, but I haven't received an ARC of this yet. And I have seen people already receive their ARCs. So I'm like, oh, I think I missed this one, but that's okay. And the last book that I want to share for quarter 2, I recently just found out about, and I'm so happy I found out about it. It's Finders Keepers by Sarah Adler, and I've read Mrs. Nash's Ashes and Happy Medium, so this is her 3rd book, and this is about 2 estranged best friends that find a long abandoned treasure hunt might be the key to a fresh start for both their futures and their feelings. So obviously this is a second chance romance. The cover is super cute. And when I went to go meet Deanna Raybourn, a couple of days ago, I went to the Fountain Bookstore in Richmond, Virginia, and they had these like promotional little bookmarks. And I was like, oh my goodness, a new Sarah Adler, and it's coming out so soon. So I'm very excited about that. But that concludes my most anticipated books of Q2 of 2025. Let me know if you are also really looking forward to any of the books that I mentioned today. If you've gotten an ARC and you've already read it and it's amazing, let me know it's amazing. But if you've read any and you haven't loved them, please don't tell me, because I really just want to form my own opinion. But yeah, that's all for today's video. If you don't know anything to comment down below, you can always leave like a book stack emoji, since we talked about all of the books. But I hope you guys are having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends. Charlie has been here the whole time that we've been filming.